Hey, Will King here from Cotton Homes, and today we're in Russellville, Alabama, a small town here in northwest Alabama, and we're at the quarry of Alabama Stone or Vetter Stone. We're going to take you behind the scenes of how they harvest these huge limestone blocks out of the earth, manufactured into specified pieces, packaged up, and ship it all over the world, all from right here in Alabama. I have a good friend, Steve Basic, joining me. We're going to go along and give you a really good behind the scenes look, so stand by. It's going to be a fun day. Like I said, Steve Basic's joining me. Steve?
What's up, buddy?
All the way from Boston to Alabama to come see me.
Just to see some stone.
I feel loved, man. I feel loved. Man, so me and Steve are about to go inside here and take a look at this mine behind us. So they told us a second ago at the safety desk that it's about 150 to 200 feet deep below surface, about a mile down this ramp behind us, and what he say, 60 degrees?
Yeah, he said it's a very consistent 60 degrees, so I'm dying to get in there.
Awesome. Well, let's go. Let's take off. We're going to drive all the way in there.
Did you see this carved stone? Makes me feel like I'm in Egypt here, man.
Little Egypt and
They got some hieroglyphics across the top there. Anyways,
let's get in there.
Let's go check it out.
All right, we're inside the quarry at our first stop, and Steve,
it's a mine.
The mine, sorry, not the quarry, the
it's
mine.
Not a quarry.
I've been saying quarry all day. I guess
a
there's
mine.
a difference, right?
So what are we? The quarry's open.
150 feet below the surface. We're about almost a mile in down the trail. It's 60 degrees, which feels great compared to the 90 degrees that's outside.
I'm ready to set up a hammock. It's like perfect right here.
Oh man, Steve, you heard them say what they were doing with the wall saw. So what are they doing?
You see that it's nothing more than a giant chainsaw that's operating, and be careful, I already walked in, there's a string right here.
Yeah.
I already walked into that a couple times.
So this is an electric, hydraulic driven wet saw? I don't see any water.
It's not a wet saw, it's like it's a giant diamond blade on a chainsaw. The blade itself is probably on the order of about 3 foot wide there, and you can see it goes in. He said on the ground it's much slower because you see this pile of dust. Right. The operator has to stop it about every 2 minutes or so and shovel the pile of the exiting dust.
Makes sense.
So you can see the giant wheel on here. This machine has the ability to rotate, and there he goes, he's cleaning out that exiting dust so he doesn't get it, and then they'll come by with a skid steer and clean this all up. But this giant wheel has the ability to take this machine and rotate it so that arm now becomes the vertical, and that's what cut the vertical line down through here. And then when they rotate it the other side, they actually have to flip the blade.
Right.
Because it's opposite hand. So to get the right direction, when they rotate it the other way, they got to flip it. But then this also can rotate 180, and it can do those lines up high, because you can see.
The blade's spinning one, it only cuts in one
direction. Exactly. But it's also the lowest point. You can see it's cutting down there. That's probably close to about 8 or 10 inches below the track height. So it's the lowest lowest level. Now, I was talking with one of the head guys here, and it's really interesting. If we go over here, you see that they insert styrofoam in there. And the reason for that is the way they exit the blocks, they insert an airbag in there.
Right.
And then they pressurize the airbag, and it basically snaps the stone.
Yep.
But what they were finding early on, before they did the EPS foam, they'd put an airbag in, and they would get some of the blocks where they would just snap the front of it off.
Too much pressure.
Too much pressure. So by putting in the EPS foam, it pads that air pillow, and it accepts some of that pressure.
Yeah.
So it gives a more even pressure against the stone, and they don't have those blowouts like they used to. Yo, Will, come check this out, man.
What you got, Steve?
So before we head upstairs, I was just talking to this gentleman. He's actually going to apply the air pressure, and we're going to snap some blocks here. So
awesome.
We got Sarge. Sarge is in charge.
Sarge knows what he's doing. How much pressure, Sarge?
It's maxed out at 110.
110?
110, 120.
That's where it'll break? Where does it normally break?
Won't take all that.
Normally not that far?
And is this just going up to the top there, where we see the hoses going up?
Yeah, it goes right there in that top cut, and it'll break the top ones, and they just all.
And that whole stack will fall down?
the weight just pushes when the weight hits the top.
So when you snap the top one, that weight is going to snap all the rest.
It's domino effect.
All right,
Awesome.
The domino effect. Well, I'm going to trust you, but how about you start that up? We're going to stand over here, and I'm going to watch and make sure you're not lying to us.
Just tell me when.
You go ahead, buddy. Hit it, Sarge. Yeah, that's good for the So you see that first one?
3 airbags. There's 3 up there, Steve.
Yeah.
Got
You
3
see
bags.
the airbags up on top there, simply in applying pressure. They just dropped that top one. It's now applying pressure to the subsequent ones down below. You can see how the
And all 3
EPS there is absorbing some of the energy in between the stones.
keep it from breaking.
You got the guys that all saw it off. And there you go. It snapped the other
Man.
3.
You almost
That
1 quarter off that second block.
is wild.
That's it. Wow, good stuff. This is the area where they're pulling the floor blocks out. So the wall saw's already been through, the floor saw's been through and cut these things. And I guess somehow they started this hole to get the forklift in and out of here. But they're reaching over the backside. Is that what she said?
Yeah, he said they drop a hook in the back and pull it. And the way they get it, I mean, right now they have temporary ramps set up left and right of us there that they use some of the stone dust. But he said if you dug that out, you would find like the face of the stone of where they last cut it. They build that in so they can get equipment around here. But
Easy to build ramps with limestone.
yeah, they got enough dust around here.
It's better than gravel.
And then they just snap it forward and pick it up with a forklift.
You know, they said the 6x8x4 was 30,000 pounds. I don't know how much that one weighs, but I bet it's probably 70,000 pounds.
That is a massive block. And then we mentioned, you had talked to him about, tell us a little bit about the discolored block back there.
He just said the back, that black area that we're seeing, when they get to areas like that, they just stop because it's useless to them. The color's so inconsistent, they can't use it for, I guess, the decorative pieces that they're cutting here. So
That's absolutely amazing, because I would find that, I mean, some of those blocks are absolutely gorgeous.
I think
I'm
some
sure
of
if
the
you
black
polish
veining
it
is
up.
really neat, but I guess sometimes they just know it. And it might be too weak too. The black spots might be a weak part of the stone and it just falls apart too easy. But
Weak spot.
anyway, fascinating stuff.
Anyways, we still got a lot more to see, buddy.
I know. Let's get up to the plant. I want to go see how they cut this stuff up into pieces.
All right, Will. So we're down here in the boneyard. These are actually the pieces that literally didn't make the cut.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So we just took a tour of the mine. What'd you think of that?
Well, the quarry mine.
Mine. You always call it a
is
quarry.
amazing. I found that to be probably one of the coolest tours I've been on, to be honest with you. We've been to a lot of mills, some together.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things get made, a lot of things get manufactured. But
Just harvesting something so natural that's just sitting here, been here for thousands of years, and now they're pulling it out to make all these facades on buildings. It's really, really neat.
and the scale that they're pulling these out, like
Huge.
as big as these blocks are, these are about half the size of the ones they're actually pulling out of there.
Small. These are small. You know, I asked them about all this stuff in the boneyard too, Steve, about why it can't be turned into gravel. And they were talking about how basically it was not hard enough to be to the gravel standard, like for the DOT for a road base.
Right.
So there's no market for them to sell that as gravel, because I'm just looking around at the piles and piles and piles of stone. It's amazing. And that's all the way out. And this road's a mile long.
I'm amazed they can't like crush it and make pellets for fertilizer or just make it into landscape stone. I mean, you go to, the big box stores, you buy a box or a bag of limestone to put in your little garden beds and stuff, and you pay through the nose. Think of all the garden beds we got here.
Sounds like an opportunity.
So, but anyways, we're on our way up to the mill. We're not even halfway done with the tour, so I'm excited.
Let's do it. All right, so we made it inside the plant, and this is where they're going to take the stone blocks that you saw coming out of that mine, and this is where all the magic starts to happen. This thing's programmed to run even when they're not here. It already knows what thickness each slab in this block to cut, so it's going to cut them, and then they use that same crane to pick up the slabs and put it over here in holding beside me, and then from there it comes onto a table, and there's a suction cup device that actually suctions to it and then lays it back over flat to run down the line. That's where it's going to get it finished and then actually get cut to whatever size that it needs. So we showed you the line where the blocks get cut by the huge, I think it's a 13-foot wet saw. It comes over with the suction cups onto the flat line. There it gets its hone finish to whatever grit that it's supposed to have. It comes down the line, and then there's a camera up top that takes a picture of it. And that's important because when it gets into the CNC machine where it starts getting cut into pieces, it actually uses that image of the stone slab to optimize that slab for the best cuts, to optimize the amount of stone from that slab so you get the most out of it. And you can see this machine in here has 3 different saw blades. It's actually going to cut it all at one time. It's less pass when it has 3 blades, so it's more efficient. And then from there, it comes down the line to the next process. All right, so this is a really neat part of the process, depending on what they're cutting. Now, what's happening behind me here is post caps that they're cutting. So not only they're taking a square block like this one, that's just a nice flat finish on all sides, and they're putting it onto this table. Now this big saw here is moving in micrometers, and it's actually cutting a angled edge like this one in front of me here. This is the finished product of what's getting cut. So not only on top you have a real flat spot, and then it's angled on all 4 sides here, but then underneath it you can see all the different beveled finishes that are going to be on this post cap. So they have the ability with these machines to really cut this stone any way they want to. All right, so once the stone slabs come off the CNC cutter that we showed you in the previous clip, depending on what it's getting cut into from there, it goes to various parts of the plant. So behind me, though, is basically like a big router. Now, obviously, it's programmed. It's like a CNC machine type. But what it's doing here is cutting a very intricate profile into this slab. And you can see over here behind me, but it's absolutely amazing the precision that these machines have in cutting a natural stone, especially a soft stone like limestone, to get these profiles all on the finished material.
All right, Will. So we did the tour, man.
Good
we
day.
went in the mine, we went to the mill, we got to see it all. We got soaking wet in the rain.
A little bit of rain, almost a lightning strike or two, but we survived.
But one of the things I think is interesting, like any place that you go, they always have their conference rooms and stuff decked out in the
with their product.
With their product, right? But the interesting thing here is they actually have a couple different products of the same. So you can cut the slab, and then depending on how you slice it, basically, you get different looks.
That's right, different veins, right?
Yeah.
You have the flurry and then the veining styles that you can see in here.
And
this wall's all the flurry, right?
This is all the flurry, and they were saying that the flurry is just far more consistent. Occasionally you get some that's tiger stripe, even though he didn't want me to talk about it, because he said that's like a 1 in a million stone to replicate, because it's not only finding the stone, but like cutting it in the exact place along a vein, right? So that cut would be along here into the stone that would reveal that tiger stripe.
Right.
So he said, don't talk too much about that, because it's not like they can go out and start getting you 2,000 pieces.
Yeah, don't try to order it, but it's a testament to what limestone really is, and the natural stone that you're getting. It's going to vary. It's not all going to be 100% consistent.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it a beautiful product, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, and you saw out there they can make anything. You got a nice little molding here around there, but in different sizes. And then over here we have that veiny stuff, which I like personally. It has a lot of movement to it. This beautiful stuff. This was a great tour. Who'd have known Alabama has such a cool thing happening down in the middle? It's a little
cooler than you think it is, Steve.
So Alabama limestone, and better known as Vetterstone.
Yep.
So how can we find out more about these guys?
Yeah, so Vetterstone's on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you just look up Vetterstone, you'll find them there. Their website's also vetterstone.com. You can find all about them and get connected with a sales rep.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Steve Basic Architect. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. I run the gamut. You got it. And Will, where do we find you, man?
At Will King Builds on Instagram.
And there you have it, Northern Alabama. This is Alabama limestone, Vetterstone.